Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are at Vivo barefoot shoes, which is, you notice a lot of the time when I'm training, is these well, I think some people find them a bit odd looking and then they look for a while and they're like, oh, they actually look really cool. I was one of them that was like, these shoes look very, very weird. And then after I wore them for a while, I was like, now I see why everyone's been wearing them. So, if you watched the video we've done before, I did with Ben, he taught me a lot of things about foot health, improving my, trying to improve my arch, trying to improve my running, a lot of tips. So I'll put a link to that. And what we're doing today is just a catch up to see, because I've been wearing Vivos now for about a year.
Yep, it's a year since we met.
Yeah. So I've been wearing them. I mean, if you look at my YouTube videos, literally 90% of the times I'm wearing them. Just walking around, training. Most of my training I wear them as well. Come in, do a catch up, see how much improvements I've made. And also because I started running as well. So yeah, Ben can kind of give us an update, some more tips on how to improve running. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and make sure you watch the first part that we did, because you will probably understand a lot of the jargon that he's using when he's
We'll try and keep it simple.
Yes.
So yeah, my name's Ben. I've been working with Vivo Barefoot on and off since 2007. So I'm a barefoot movement coach. I've been teaching people about the joy of feet and natural feet and footwear and movement, and especially running. Obviously the barefoot running bug is as old as the dawn of time and explains the human body form, but it's also kicked off quite a lot in the last 10 years. And there's a lot of confusion and myths around it, so let's see if we can address some of those, starting with the fact that yes, when you first wear Vivos, you look at them and they look different from your normal shoes, because we like to think of Vivo as footwear rather than shoes, because shoes kind of support, the definition of shoes is that they're supportive, and they may kind of cushion you, whereas footwear is just a covering. So they are weird because they're foot shaped, not shoe shaped. At the same time, ultimately you want your feet to be natural and spread. Some people will have wider feet, some people will have narrower feet, but in general, when we wear shoes, they constrict our toes, and that can lead to deformed feet, and it can also affect your movement skill.
Yeah.
Obi, here we've got you walking. So we're just going to have a look at your foot strike and just look at your walking skill. So if I just press play there, we can see you've got a really nice, well-aligned posture. We're upright, we're not leaning, we're not bent at the hip. Your rhythm, this cadence here, it's coming in at the start, it says it's 117, but it actually kicks back to about 106. Now, let's just, so we're going to have a look at what is going on when we're making contact with the ground. Now, again, posture's good, rhythm. When walking, a slightly quicker rhythm than we might normally do. I generally encourage people to aim for 115 to 125, which helps them to keep a shorter stride. But of course, you are you're pretty tall, so for your size, you're still not taking a huge long stride here, but your rhythm is on a little bit on the slow side. Now, speeding it up, what that can do is encourage us to land slightly closer. So again, it's going to shorten our stride slightly. It's going to help us to land slightly closer to underneath our body. And the other thing that I'm noticing there is your knee is really quite straight, it's extended on contact, and of course as you go through, let's just do that slowly, as you go through but you're keeping your leg quite straight there, and you may well benefit from a slightly softer knee when walking. You know, and the way to get that is to just think of a slightly quicker rhythm, and landing just closer to under the body. So it's that heel stroke rather than heel strike. And don't get me wrong, it looks like you're walking very fluidly, you're not walking too fast. You can see there's very slightly more just pronation on that left foot on the immediate contact. But that's something that is actually desirable. We want a slight roll in. Again, it's part of our natural shock absorption as we just make contact with the floor, and then we're rolling around the outside of our feet, across the balls and off the big toe. You know, and it's good to see you are engaging your big toe there. Again, in order to maximize the benefit from walking, as our forefoot and our toes make contact with the ground, if we can just pin that big toe in just slightly, and of course this is fine to do in a Vivo, it's very difficult to do in a cushioned shoe with toes up in the air.
Exactly.
You're in effect doing, you know, a bicep curl on your flexor hallucis longus with every step. Now in terms of incremental gains, you know, the flexor hallucis longus is the big toe muscle, it's the beginning of that front fascial line. Really important to engage with that and build the strength there. It's going to help with your balance when you're doing everything ultimately, and to turn something that you do whatever 10 to 20,000 times a day, the amount of steps you take, into a beneficial exercise is obviously a huge win without changing a great deal in your life. You're taking the steps anyway. If you can engage that big toe every time you take a step, then it's going to lead to improved foot strength. And actually the stat on that is wearing Vivo for 6 months improves your foot strength, your toe flexor strength by 60%. There's a study out of Liverpool which is coming soon. Okay, so I would just recommend when you're walking in Vivos, aim for a slightly quicker rhythm, and that soft knee. Now let's have a look. So this is now walking in your running shoes, you know, which are more cushioned of course. And what we can see, your rhythm stayed the same. In fact, it really hasn't changed your technique at all. But what we're seeing is a lot more lateral instability, so rolling from the left to the right. Before it was a very smooth line straight down the middle and off through the ball and the big toe. And now we're seeing more movement to the outside and more movement to the inside, you know, which is instability. And again, on that, the science shows that older people, even those who've experienced falls, have better balance and physical function, the ability to perform simple little movement tasks in Vivos compared to cushioned footwear. You know, and you said when you're walking in the Vivos compared to the cushioned shoes that it literally feels more stable.
Yeah.
There's science that shows that we stiffen our leg according to the cushioning underneath our foot in order to feel the ground. So the more cushioning, the stiffer the leg. Then we've got running in the cushioned shoes. Okay, so pause it and have a look at your foot strike on the inside. It's interesting, I think some of those there, you're coming in on your heel, like that one's coming in on the heel. Others you were coming in on maybe it's the left compared to the right. On the right, you're coming in flat there.
Right.
You know, it's interesting, it's a slight asymmetry. And again, because we can't feel the floor as much in the cushioned footwear, it's more likely to lead to those asymmetries.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of your technique, your rhythm, when you came in a year ago, your rhythm was 165. So your rhythm is quicker, which means you're taking a shorter strides, more elastic, so that's good. But again, we're still reaching out a little bit on that left. So forefoot on the right, heel strike on the left. Forefoot on the right, heel on the left. Beware of that.
Right.
Practice some left foot jumping. You know, this is where it can be beneficial to do some slow running technique work in your Vivos.
Right.
This should be fast in the cushioned. Yeah, so now your rhythm's super good, where we would want it to be. This is at 15 kilometers an hour.
Right.
Oh, nice, we're coming in. So we are coming in now with a flat foot on the left. And this is different to last time, because last time when we pushed you to go faster, you went into more of a heel strike at the faster speed. So you've now done the opposite. And I would say that's just practice running. You're more in tune and you're feeling the forces. Let's have a look at Vivos. Now we're looking at Vivos. And interestingly, here we go. So this is actually super slow. This is at 8 kilometers an hour. So understandably, your rhythm is slower. If you were going to run and do some technique work practicing at this speed, then it is important to maintain that quick rhythm.
Right.
You know, but this is slower than we were running in the cushioned footwear.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go back to the other one and compare. So this is
11.
So this is at 11 kilometers an hour. Let's just see how the foot strikes are. Because again, your posture is still good. We've got a nice heel pull. The rhythm is quicker than it was a year ago at this pace. That's looking lovely, as we would expect. We're still quite on the outside of the foot, and you're not fully loading your heel, but as we saw on the plantar pressure plate, you know, you have a lot of load through the base of your fifth met head. So we'd have to do some practice and some jumping over the pressure plate to see how well your heel actually loads.
Any tips to help us get better? Just basic, simple principles we can follow when we run.
Yeah, right. So, you know, the movement mantra and same for making a cup of tea, as it is for walking, as it is for running, in that we want a well-aligned posture, and your posture is a habit, so that's number one. Number two is running, stick to about 3 steps a second rhythm. 175 so 3 steps a second is 180 a minute. Sticking to 175 to 190 helps to keep those steps quick on the floor. If you can combine that with aiming to land under yourself rather than reaching out ahead, that will help to put as much of that energy that you're expending into propelling you forward rather than braking. And then to keep nice and relaxed and symmetrical when you're running, which obviously comes with time. You know, walk before you run if you're going to transition into Vivo barefoot wear. When you do start to run, don't run too far or too fast too soon. Maybe cut back your speed. Literally try a few minutes of running, making sure that you've adopted good posture, that nice quick rhythm. You know, it's very nice and exciting, and it feels wonderful running in Vivos and feeling the floor. And sometimes you can lose yourself in that moment and just run too far too soon. And that's the big, just walk more, run a little bit. That's the best way to start. I would say avoid a heel strike. Certainly if you're running in minimal or barefoot wear. Now, to say it's okay to run with a heel strike in a cushion shoe is also not necessarily true. You know, it gets confused because elites do that. But they've spent decades building up their strength to do that, and there's a big difference between landing with a very slight heel strike underneath your body compared to overstriding, landing with a heavy heel strike in front of your body. Yeah? So I would definitely say the most important thing is to land underneath your body, whether that's a slight heel or a slight forefoot. The goal would be to get, as you were doing in your Vivos at 11, that, you know, even between the forefoot and the heel, so just a flat foot strike. And it'll, if you got into the super detail on that, it would be just forefoot heel kiss to absorb the shock, and that's what I practice.
Yeah.
So how do we practice that? And this is a very good point. Even before we start running, there's a huge amount of mobility work we can do. We can do work on our posture, we can connect with our feet, we did some of the toe exercises in the previous video. Of course, it's important to have good ankle dorsiflexion. It's important to have flexible hips in order to maintain that posture when you're running. You know, so that all the mobility exercises are super important as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So check out the video we did before, because we did cover a lot more, and this is kind of just getting a little bit more of a point, especially with the barefoot shoes. It's the first time I came, I wasn't wearing them, so it's interesting to see the difference and to show you guys what the difference is, and especially myself thinking of transitioning to running in barefoot shoes. So some of these tips are useful because again, it's good to see actually the difference. And then I think it was good that I walked in them, like you said. I walked in them for a while, and now I'm going to run in them. So that's probably a big tip I'll give to you guys out there. Like the first 2 weeks I wore them to walk, it was weird. You will feel weird, especially just walking outside. Your feet will be like, whoa, what's going on? I think a lot of people don't realize this. It's a lot harder outside, so it will feel weird and uncomfortable, but after a while you adapt. And then I think how I've done it is you can always just walk around in them and then go into running. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
so
we generally recommend at least 6 weeks of getting back to your normal, whatever you do, 10,000 plus steps a day. But the caveat is it's based on your physiology and we're all a bit different there. So just take longer than you think and do the mobility exercises, and jumping and practicing jumping just on the spot with that quick rhythm to tune into your feet and tune into the foot strike will really, really help. It's also a great idea to actually either get a pro to film you and check your technique, or get a friend, because you know you can look to where your foot is making contact with the floor, look at your posture to see where you are, check your rhythm. You know, those are the basic things that you can't really deviate from. And then of course there's a lot of extra detail in your particular physiology, aches, pains, tightness here, asymmetries, what have you, that it's a really good idea to deal with throughout our life.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to try now to run in them, and it's nice to see actually the difference, because I was a bit like, oh, there was no difference, that weird. Bit of a nightmare. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. I will put Ben's, do you even use social media?
Yeah, no, I have Barefoot Works. You can, if you want to, I'm doing coaching sessions in the London store. Kind of have to contact the store at the moment to book that, but the booking will be available back on the Vivo website within the next few months.
That's awesome. So it's like, just like the bike fit I did with James, Ben's the running fits, man. So you can come to Ben to sort out your running and your walking, not just running, and your posture. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Say goodbye, Ben.
Cheers, nice one.
Peace out.
Peace.